What is up, guys? It is the Sports Nerd Bradley Walker, and welcome to the Walker Report, part of NGSC Sports. Guys, remember the website. It's ngscsports.com for all your current sports content. We are part of Mancini Media, the Game Winners Sports Network, Snowman Multimedia Sports, and the Game Sports Incorporated as well. Welcome in, guys. Happy Thursday to you. I was not supposed to be here, but the Hurricane has rescheduled the game that I was supposed to be calling tonight. Has now been rescheduled until tomorrow. So I will be calling my second high school football game tomorrow. And if you guys did not hear earlier yesterday, I did get my credentials for the USF Bulls. This will be my 6th season covering USF football. So I will be covering that. The first game for the Bulls actually is Saturday. It's on the road. The first home game is the 9th of September against FAMU, and I'll be there with my crew, the guys that I've been writing with, and my neighbor who's been a photographer will also be back with me again this year. Before we get into it, guys, I have 2 sponsors on the show. The first one is creatingzenspaces.com. It is the local choice in St. Petersburg, Florida for house cleaning, organization, decluttering, and pet sitting. It's about finding the peace within you, adding comfort to your life. And guys, remember, Zen Spaces begins with you. Be kind to yourself and one another. We are also sponsored by Funwags.com. Born from a near tragedy when the Funwags mascots had a reaction from a store brand treat, feel to succeed with treats made from 3 to 5 ingredients you can pronounce. The Funwags mascots invite you to try fun-wags.com because your fur babies deserve the best. Head over to fun-wags.com to try out these treats. They are made for cats, dogs, and rodents as well. Welcome in, guys. Happy Thursday. Hang on just a second. My TV just shut off. Why did it do that? All right. Sorry about that, guys. I was trying to chime in the Gator-Utah game in the background. But let me welcome on my 3 outstanding co-hosts. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
How's it going in your neck of the woods?
We got a little cool down. We got a little cool front that's hitting us right now.
So it's only like 95.
Thank God. I'm tired of those 100, 108, 109 degree days, man.
Yeah, I get that.
So 102 is a cool down.
Right.
The highest we're going to get this week would probably about 101, 102. But hey, that's better than 109, 110.
You guys put a freeze warnings at what, 90?
Right now it's 99 degrees and I got my heater going.
Yeah, I mean, they put
You
a
break out the
frost warnings
parka.
Yeah, they forgot.
I'm not gonna fire that up until it gets down to 90. Then I will fire up the fireplace.
Because then they put blizzard warnings.
I dodged a huge bullet on Wednesday, so that's all.
Yeah,
good.
I'm so glad you made it through that hurricane. That man, that had my team going bonkers there for a while.
Yeah, I thought.
Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth, Gerald, on that. I was on the chat started on Tuesday, and it went all the way and back and forth between a lot of them. But I do want to send my prayers out to the people that were directly affected. Their houses, businesses got destroyed in Cedar Key, where that where the hurricane hit directly. We were supposed to get a lot worse than we was. We just got a lot of rain and wind and some storm surge, not as much as they thought it was going to be from my area. So we dodged a huge bullet. I want to thank God for that. That we dodged a huge bullet. Those are always scary. And the funny thing is, no matter where you go in the country, you got something. Here it's hurricanes and sometimes tornadoes. Up north it's snow. You go out west, it's earthquakes and hurricanes, and in the middle of the country you have tornadoes and fire. So wherever you go, you got some kind of natural,
fire and thunderstorms.
Yeah.
And Brad, I'm glad my team was able to keep you safe, man.
I solely appreciate you guys updating me. I was being, of course, updated by the local meteorologist, but it was about the same. I mean, your team was about the same as what they were saying. I'm just happy that the track, as it got closer and closer to it, shifted west, which was good for me, because if it had shifted east, it would have been a lot worse than it was for me. But I'm happy I'm here. Like I said, I would be, in normal circumstances, I'd be calling a football game tonight, but I'll be calling that game tomorrow night. It's been rescheduled for tomorrow night, so I'll be calling my second high school game tomorrow night. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Wasn't it originally scheduled for tomorrow night anyway?
It was, but yes, it was, and then it was rescheduled for tonight, and then it got rescheduled back because of the hurricane. So, yep.
You're right where you were to begin with.
Correct.
Right.
Back to where I began with. So that's why I found out yesterday. I'm like, you know what? Then we'll do a show then. The hell with it. We'll just do a show then, because I why would I skip a day if I don't have to? And then I have my next my first JV game is next Wednesday, so it's a little bit different. I'm sure the crowd won't be as packed for a varsity game as it is for a JV game, but we'll see how that all plays out. So. Every you guys doing good? Everyone doing good? Nothing out of the ordinary? Good. Good news.
Nope.
All right.
Gotta go put rent in the mail. I don't want to forget again.
Oh, got my card yesterday.
That's awesome.
Excellent.
I'm so happy that you did. I'm very happy about that. I was curious and I hadn't heard from you, and I'm like, hopefully I didn't mess up the address again, and I'll get them back. But thank goodness it ended up being that you got them, because that's good. That is good.
Well, you know what they say, Brad, third time's the charm.
Well, originally Lou gave me an address, but that was his old address. So what ended up happening is, by the time that the post office got them back to me, I had moved to where I am now, and it was forwarded to this address. That's why it took so long to get them back to Lou, because I had gotten them back from the post office, and I knew that. He told me that it was his old address, so I figured it was going to go to return to sender. Problem is, the address was my old address, so it went back, and then it got sent here. So, but everything's all straightened out now. So
Wonder on that one.
everybody's got it. Everybody's got it now.
Mike, check.
So that is.
Adam, you still been leaving business cards all over the place.
Yeah.
When I think about it, yeah, I gave one out yesterday.
Good.
I'm gonna start trying to hand mine out at the football games.
There you
Somebody
go.
asked.
That's
Yeah.
that's a good place to hand them out.
I'm still trying, guys, to see if they'll let me live stream the game on the network, because I think that would be cool. And Josh, that was on the show, he said that he thought that would be cool for us to do that.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah. So that I had ESPN on the game, and my TV is black, so I don't know if ESPN is down or my cable is down, but I have internet, so I don't know what's going on. Anyway, it's
most my games, so
I was trying to listen to the Gator Utah game that's starting right now.
Yeah, we'll see.
So
well,
I think the Gators.
I got it right here.
I think the Gators are probably going to lose, but we'll see. I mean, Utah's got a lot of guys out hurt. Their quarterback is in tonight, so that's a good thing.
You said it was on ESPN.
I got fired up on my computer, so I'm streaming that one as well while seeing the other games. So we're covered.
Cool.
Yeah, I heard that before we came on the air that the quarterback was there. Somebody was out.
Cam Rising is recovering from the torn ACL from the Rose Bowl last year against Penn State.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get my TV on and get it set to ESPN, and I keep you updated on the score.
Yeah, I don't know why my the TV and that's right around the corner from me is on black. I thought that maybe the cable box had timed itself out because I have Spectrum cable and the cable box will, if you stay in the same channel, it turns it off automatically after a while. So
Yeah.
it's not that because I went back and turned the TV and cable box off, so it's not that. So I guess it'll come back on, but yeah. So I'm here and I've got notes and stuff. I mean, we can primarily talk about obviously college football week 1. Talk about the NFL. We can wait till the end of the last hour of the show to do that.
Like we usually do.
Don't forget what I asked you, Brad.
Anytime, Gerald, you want to fire that up, you go right ahead, my brother. Go right ahead.
Okay, I'm trying to get this thing to. Trying to get this thing to. Okay, there we go. I'm talking about ESPN here.
Mine on Fox Sports 1.
And for everyone out there that says I don't use a microphone, you can see it right here. See it in the corner? That is my microphone now. So there you go. For all those people out there that don't think I use one.
How's my audio tonight? Is it good?
Good. Yep.
Good deal.
Yeah, I got it set up. Utah is up 7-0.
That's not shocking. That's not shocking. Okay.
That was quick.
There we go.
That was very quick.
I'm fixing to fire it up. Over the past week, WWE lost 2 great competitors, so this is a tribute to them. Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt. There we go.
Okay.
Very cool.
Good.
Yeah, those both of them died too young. Both of them died too young.
Yeah.
I mean, Terry Funk, I think, was the epitome of what Extreme Wrestling was.
Oh yeah.
One of the best Extreme wrestlers out there. And I think, like I said last week, I think Bray Wyatt was kind of the next face of evil. I think Undertaker was kind of trying to pass the torch to him. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see that. I'm not sure who the next face of evil will be. I did like the tribute that LA Knight did. I know that he said that him and Bray were not the best of friends, but I do like the tribute that he did with a wise man once said to the Miz, "Run," and that was always what Bray would say. So that was pretty cool. Speaking of that, if you guys, I was going to say,
Not wear the heart monitor that his heart doctor told him to wear. He was supposed to wear a heart monitor at all times, and he would not wear it.
Yeah.
It was like a defibrillator.
Gotcha. Well, speaking of that, if you want to get into the wrestling, there is a pay-per-view this upcoming weekend. Payback is coming up. I was going to go to a sports bar, guys. The USF game starts at 3:30. I figured that I might just stay and watch Payback by the time the game is over, and
Stay back.
why come all the way home when I'm already there if I can just eat an appetizer for the game and then maybe have dinner and sit and watch, get 2 sporting events in one day. I mean, I got to go and cover the USF game anyway, even when they're on the road. So yeah, I think I might do that. But yes, WWE Payback.
There's some great matches
Go
coming
ahead.
up.
Sure. Yeah. So this is the
The match I'm waiting for is Rhea
Payback
Ripley
card.
and Raquel Rodriguez.
Is that for the title?
Yep.
Okay. I was going to say the card is Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the World Heavyweight title.
Sounds familiar.
Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus in a steel. Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus in a steel cage match. Holy cow!
One thing about that, Brad.
I don't know if I want to quite be in a cage with Becky Lynch.
Trish Stratus has
Be a
never been
lynching.
in a steel cage match in her whole career. She's never been in it.
I don't think I'd want to be in a cage with Becky Lynch. That's just me. I
No, you get a lynching that way too.
don't think I want to be. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, so
women's
you got
wrestling has
Rhea
come a
Ripley
long
versus
way, hasn't it?
No,
Yeah, it
Becky
has.
Lynch,
Yeah, there's.
Becky Lynch is pissed.
Right.
Long gone are the bra and panty matches. They're now having steel cage matches like real wrestlers. Good to see.
Yep.
Yeah, Adam misses those bra and penny matches.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
You have Owens and Zayn versus Finn Balor and Damian Priest in a Steel City street fight for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship.
Now that right there, that brings up some controversy going on with Judgment Day. Finn Balor and Damian Priest cannot get along. There's tension between those.
They haven't been able to get along since WrestleMania. They
Ever since
two
Damian Priest
straight
won-
pay-per-views,
Yes.
Money in the Bank.
Damian won the Money in the Bank ladder match
Right.
contract, and JD Madonna has started running with Finn. Those two have not been getting along.
Yeah.
They're supposed to get
So
along,
how they going to coexist as a tag team?
right?
You squash the beef and you do your work, and then you don't like each other on Monday.
Right.
Yep, correct. And
Or-
then you have Rey.
You
Go
screw
ahead.
the other guy, or you screw the other guy.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. You have Rey Mysterio versus Austin Theory for the WWE United States Championship. You have LA Knight versus The Miz. Is that it? Is that all the matches? Just those couple?
That's it.
There might
That it?
there might be some more they just haven't added yet.
Oh,
Yeah,
'cause I
you
gotta
still
say,
have
that's-
SmackDown tomorrow night.
Well, here's my question with everything going on. What happened with Jimmy Uso? Is he really done, or is he just taking a long leave of absence?
Who?
Is it Jay or Jimmy that left?
Oh no, Jimmy's gonna be back tomorrow.
Oh, he's back. Okay.
So is John Cena.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that'll be interesting. Well, that's what should happen. Cena should win the title and break the record, and then call it a day. Break Ric Flair's record and call it a day.
Uh-huh.
That's what should happen.
Don't know
Break
yet.
Ric Flair's record and then call it a.
I still don't know why Cena's coming back.
Yeah, he's seen his day. Come on.
There's
I-
nothing else to do.
I was gonna say Adam's right there. It's money. He's not making a movie right now. He's not shooting his TV show because there's a writer's strike. So there's nothing going on right now in Hollywood. So he's coming back for a money grab.
He's got to make another dollar, like we all are.
Right.
Yep, he's back to make a money grab.
He's back to get another paycheck, and I mean it's light work for him. You know, they're not going to put him in. They're not going to put him in some match with some guy that's gonna beat his brains in.
Hmm.
They're not gonna put him in a squash match. They're gonna put him in in a stepping stone match where he might lose, but it doesn't matter. It's not like it's gonna hurt his legacy.
Yeah, no.
They're gonna if they put him in a match, it'll be in a match where he can shine and he can put a guy over. That's where he's at in his career. He's not an everyday performer. He's spot stars, man. And he's gonna go out there and he's gonna put a guy over and he's gonna look good doing it. And everybody's gonna love him for it.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's gonna take his $20 million to the bank and last the whole entire freaking way.
That he will. That he will. That he will.
And he's John Cena.
Yep.
Florida's got a good defense, but their offense can't get nothing going.
Yeah, that's going to be the issue this year with them. They have Graham Mertz, who's the transfer from Wisconsin. They don't have a quarterback. We lost, Richardson went in the draft. So they have a transfer. They don't have anybody. I think the guy that they recruited is a true freshman, so I don't think he's quite ready. I know I did hear on the radio today that Gator fans got to give Billy Napier more than 4 years, man. I mean, this is year 2. This is a tough – I mean, they both out of 2 out of 4 out of conference games are against ranked opponents. Utah's one of them and Florida State's the other one. So it's not like it's easy. And the Gators have it tough this year. They're tough. It's tough in the SEC. So they got to be patient. If they win 6 games, I would be happy if they win 6 this year.
Yeah, I understand. I understand it. Well, we'll get into that later. We'll save that for later. We're gonna tease you with that. We'll tease you with that. You want to hear more? You'll have to stay for the rest of the show.
Well, speaking of the wrestling, if we can close it out, that Roman Reigns has just set a new record, right?
Yep.
Huh.
What is that? Most successful prick to ever hold the title?
Yeah, he's held the title for the he's had the longest title. Was it 3 years total that he's held the belt?
3.
3 years total that he's held the belt.
Wow.
So I thought they were going to take it off of him at SummerSlam, but unfortunately that didn't happen that way. And so I would have thought that was the best way to do it, but obviously not. So
I'm looking for them to take it off of him pretty soon.
Yeah, because
but we've been saying that for 3 freaking years.
He's not a full-timer anymore. He's a
what we've
part-timer.
been saying about Nick Saban. We keep saying Alabama's done this year. And
they're not done until Nick goes away. They're not
You're
done
until somebody knocks you off.
Yeah, they're not done until he goes away. So they are definitely not done until he goes. He goes away. The Ryder Cup has been picked for Team USA. Hang on just a second. Let me give you the lowdown on who Zach Johnson, who is the captain, picked for the Ryder Cup, which starts at the end of next month, or this month coming up, between Europe and Team Europe versus Team USA. 10 from each side. I think it's 12 from each side. 10 players, 2 captains picks from each side. So let's see if it gives me a list of who made the team. And yes, Brooks Koepka did make the team, even though he's not a PGA player. So let's put that out there. He did get picked.
Like I said last week, while you're looking that up, I kind of figured they would. That the Live team, that because they're going to become this megacorp next year.
Yeah. So the picks that were added by Zach Johnson were Jordan Spieth, Brooks Koepka, Ricky Fowler, Colin Morikawa, and Koepka is the only LIV player selected, finished 7th in the U.S. standings, despite only being eligible to earn points in major championships. So there you go. So he only earned points in majors, and he finished 7th in the rankings. So that's how good Brooks Koepka his year that he's having. I think the surprise pick was Justin Thomas. Justin's had a not so great year, but you joined Scotty Scheffler, Wyndham Clark, Brian Harman, Patrick Cantlay, Xander Schauffele, and Max Homa. So those guys are already qualified for the team. Wyndham Clark won the U.S. Open, so he is. Scotty Scheffler is the #1 player in the world as we speak. Brian Harman won the Open Championship. The one that was left off the team, surprise, was Keegan Bradley, who is having a pretty good year, but he got left off the team. He came out on social media and said that he is tired of being left out, that he needs to play better to get into the big names. He's tired of being the second, what's left and stuff like that. So he is not happy that he didn't get picked. Now, again, it has been many, many years since the United States has won on European soil. It is in Rome. That's where they're playing this year. Here is 4 players that have already clinched for Team Europe. You have Rory McIlroy, Jon Rahm, Victor Hovland, and Tyrrell Hatton. Tommy Fleetwood and Robert McIntyre occupy the final 2 spots, with Matthew Fitzpatrick, Justin Rose, Shane Lowry, Sepp Straka, Adrian Mercant, Nicole Hagelin, Yannick Paul, Ludvig Åberg, and Victor Perez are all believed to be under consideration to fill out the rest of the European roster. This actually, if you look at the European team, in my opinion, this might be one of the chances that the USA can win on foreign soil. I think we have the better players. You don't have Sergio Garcia, who is an absolute killer at the Ryder Cup. He didn't get picked because he's on the LIV Tour. So that's a good thing. He's not on the PGA Tour anymore. So he didn't get picked. And he's an absolute beast when it comes to the Ryder Cup. You can look up his record in the Ryder Cup. It's damn good. The Gators got the ball back. Okay, that's good. This golf tournament to me is one of the ones that drives me to a near heart attack, because you watch on Friday, you watch Saturday, and then you get up on Sunday and you watch all of the matches. And being that it's going to be on a Sunday during football, it'll be one of those things where you're flipping the channel back and forth. And unless the United States has a humongous lead going into Sunday, I will be watching both. But yeah, it's always a tournament that gives me a heart attack to watch. I get so excited about the Ryder Cup that happens every 2 years. So looking forward to the Ryder Cup in about 3 or 4 weeks from now, I think, is when it kicks off.
Yeah, about a month away.
Yeah, I was going to say about a month away.
Was September 24th to the 27th or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah, something along those lines. Did you guys see what's his name? Ronald Acuna got attacked by a fan. Did you see that? You got that video yet? That was
I saw the video, yeah.
Oh my God, dude. I mean, I've seen, we all see people run on the field, right? They're obnoxiously drunk or high or doing a dare or whatever.
Yeah.
I've never seen anyone cost a player like that guy did. I saw the video. I'm like, oh my God, dude. Like, where in the hell was stadium security? It took him forever to get out there to him. Were
They had to finish the nachos first.
were they in LA? Is that where they were at?
I don't remember.
That was insane. That I've never.
Well, that's scary though.
Hell yeah,
No, but
it's
any-
scary. Hell yeah, it's scary.
It's like, what if he had a knife or a shank or
Yeah, I mean, think about that. I mean, yeah, I mean, think. Let's say he bought something at the store in the stadium and made a shank, like you said, but made a shank out of it and went after him and stabbed him. Dude, you never know what people will do. In a situation like that. I guess, like I said, I saw the video. I'm like, and I mean, I was just at a professional baseball game last week, and that's scary to even think that stuff can happen.
Well, and you know what it's going to end up costing us is front row seating.
Yeah. Yep.
They're gonna put up more barriers and more walls and more screens so that you can't get out. And it's gonna make the in-game experience worse for everybody else. Jackass.
And that's the thing, but too, that it only takes one asshole to ruin it for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And MLB is. They're going to start looking into how they can better secure their park. And that's what they might do. They say, well, you know what? We're not going to have the first 5 rows are not going to be used. We're going to put a barrier up so you can't get out to the field. The only people that are going to have field access will be media members or MLB personnel. That'll be it.
Credential media members with their pass.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then that's going to be
Or
it.
they're going to start bringing in more armed officers and you're going to get shot.
Yep.
There won't be a question. You'll just get shot.
Well, I mean, I understand, you could tase people, but when you're, accosting a player or causing harm to another human being, I'm sorry, maybe you should be shot.
It's the whole, we can't, it's the thinking, like, players don't go into the stands, fans don't go onto the field, and, as fans, we reserve the right to say what we know, to have our voice heard at the ballpark, right? You can boo, you can cheer, you can say whatever you want, right? And but the players reserve the right of the sanctity of the field. And if you violate the sanctity of the field, you forfeit the right to be there. And look, I don't want anybody shot, but we're not putting people at risk for entertainment, and like and from the video that I saw, it looked like he just wanted a picture, but you can't go out on the field. Period. End of story. Case closed.
Period. Yeah.
And I mean, like you said, but unless you have access to the field, and it's not during game time. I mean, even as a media member, you're not allowed on the field during the game. Once the game kicks off, and whether that's, I mean, even for me at USF, we are allowed to go down until opening kick, and we're allowed to go down with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But that's it. So the first 3 quarters, we're not allowed to go in. Go ahead.
Florida just kicked the field goal.
7-3. Okay, thanks, Gerald. But yeah, I mean, so I'll go down. Next Saturday, I'll go down to field level and take pictures and stuff like that. And I usually like to watch warm ups for both teams to kind of get a feel of kind of see. Do they look like they're willing to win, or is it look like they just, oh crap, it's another Saturday, I'm here, okay. I don't see that very often with a lot of games with no matter who's playing who. And obviously the exciting game for me this year is not next Saturday, it's the following Saturday. I'm hoping maybe I can get a picture of Nick Saban because Alabama will be in town. So
they're bigger than us. They're stronger than us. Got more facial hair than us.
Yeah. So I will. I'll definitely try to get as close to him as I can. I don't know how close I can get to him, but
About 50 yards away, right? 85?
probably that's okay. I can zoom in on my phone and take a picture of Nick.
But, well, and just to wrap up on the Acuna thing,
mhm.
like, there were 2 fans that got involved. And that's even, you know, what, I just think of terrorism and, bad things that can happen, because that would be just like the worst scenario. There's somebody out there with ill intent and a weapon.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, they get a lot of that stuff going in, but it only takes
Doesn't mean they're going to get you though.
well, no, it only takes one security guard to have a lapse in judgment, and that gets in somehow. That gets in, and what do you do? What do you do at that point? And like you said, it only takes one to ruin it for everybody else. And then you won't be able to, like I've seen videos with Aaron Judge throwing, playing catch, and Mookie Betts playing catch with the fans during warm-ups or during a commercial timeout if the games are on TV. You're not going to be able to do that anymore if this shit continues. It's just not going to happen because they'll just stop all that shit. Well, either that or they're going to have more security guards, and as soon as you make a step, they're going to stop you. And they're going to stop you. You won't even be able to get down to the field level. So,
like they'll take out the first row of seating and they'll put in more guard railing, and they'll put up, and they'll put up, there'll be a line that you can't cross, and if you cross that, you're done. There are no questions, no comments, no arguments. You're done. And they tasers will be deployed, and physical force up into lethal force will be used to remove you from the present premises.
Exactly.
And because all it takes is one guy getting through to hurt somebody, and when I go to a sporting event, the last thing I have on my mind is doing harm to the opposing team. I might want to fight a guy, right? But I'm all talk. I might want to go knock somebody's block off. But they're professional athletes. They're a lot bigger, a lot stronger, and they have more facial hair than I do. And so maybe not that last part, but no, they're trained professional athletes, and they're definitely stronger than I am. And
but okay.
When it comes to that kind of thing, it's going to get to the point where they're just going to have to rope it off, and there won't be the access that we have now is super limited as it is.
I was going to say, when I got my credentials, guys, to the Rays, I thought, hey, I get off work at 4. The game starts at 6:40. I figured, hey, I'll get there in time to see the Rays batting practice. They took batting practice at 4:05. So as soon as I left my job, they were already on the field taking BP. So I would have had to have gotten there at like 3:30 to see them beat. So the next time, if I get credentials, I did have Ralph apply for the rest of the home series that the Rays have. If I get a game and it's on a weekday that I'm working, I'm gonna maybe see if I can butt out a little early, maybe around 3:30, and go see if I can catch batting practice on the field, because I'm allowed to go on the field during BP for both teams. So I'll go down and watch both teams warm up and get pictures. And I don't know, I know for USF, we're not allowed to interview players on the field. You're not allowed to do that. That's a no-no. I don't know with MLB because again, it's professional. It's not college, not the NCAA rules. So I'm not sure if I could get an interview. Maybe I could get an interview with a player as they're coming off the field. If like, hey, I'm part of the Walker
Couple more
Report
questions.
podcast. Can I have an interview with you? Or hey, here's my card. Can you come on my show sometime? Here,
Now that
max me out. Here's my card, my information. Just email me or call me, and we can set something up. So
right now there's an idea.
I just friend requested former MLB player Travis Hafner on Facebook.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Friend request. So I'm going to take a bold move and see in the next couple of days if I can get him to come on and talk baseball with us about his time with the Indians, now the Guardians, but at the time they were the Cleveland Indians when he played for baseball.
I'm so freaking tired of Taylor.
But
That'd be a fun interview.
speaking of baseball, we are now entering the final month of the regular season. You guys have any surprises out there that you're surprised at where the guys are listed? Anybody surprised at where their team is at? I watched the Tigers beat the Yankees this afternoon on a error by Gleyber Torres. Cost them the game in the 10th inning. A throwing error that cost the game for the Yankees this afternoon. But there's a game going on right now. The Marlins are up 5-1 over the Nationals. The Giants and the Padres, first pitch is set for 9:40. The Braves are playing the Dodgers. That I'm not saying right now, but that could be a preview of the NLCS later on.
Well, could be.
I still think Atlanta is the best team in the majors right now. The Dodgers are not far behind, but I think Atlanta is the top team as far as I'm concerned.
It's hard to argue with Atlanta. But like I said on Gerald's show earlier, like that's the problem. The thing about the playoffs is you can go cold. You can go. You can hit all year, pitch all year, and you get into the NLCS, the ALCS, or even the DL. The division
series. Yep.
Yeah, series. Thank you. The division series and go cold. Go 5 for 21 with runners in scoring position in 4 games and be done. And so,
isn't the DS the best of 5? You got to win 3 games, I think is what it is. Could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, well, look at this. If you guys remember the movie Moneyball, the A's were up 2-0 over the Yankees, and the Yankees came back and won the next 3 and swept them out of the playoffs.
And
so, like you said,
and money doesn't, And it just goes to show you, money may not buy happiness, but it does buy championships.
It does buy. It does. Yeah.
Yeah,
it does. Right.
And that's,
go, bud.
And that's the funny thing about baseball. And I mean, it's not just baseball, but it's it's any sport with a champion with a multi-game season. Well, shit, you can say that about any sport, right? You have a bad game, you play one bad game, and you're all done. You have 3 bad games, and you're quickly down 3-1, and it's an uphill climb from there. And you might have 3, or you can have 3 great games. You can beat a team 19-4 and drop 4 straight, and are sitting on your couch in October wondering what the hell happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
You'll be down to your last out, last strike, bottom of the 9th, hit a 2-run jack, tie the game up, win in the 17th. It's hard to say because right now, Atlanta and LA are the best two teams in baseball. But
No
you
doubt.
know, if if the Brewers could sweep out or the Braves could sweep out the Brewers, right? And then the Phillies could take the Nationals and beat the Nationals in 7, and or not the Nationals, sorry, the Dodgers. The Phillies could beat the Dodgers in 5, and Atlanta's had 4 extra days off of no competitive baseball, and they come out flat in the NLCS flat, and the Phillies are right back in the World Series.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Again, I think it's a lot. It's very similar to hockey. You know, you could come in the playoffs. You know, say you had a bad last month of the season, but your goaltender gets hot at the right time. I mean, that you could say that about the Florida Panthers because that's one of the reasons why they made it all the way to the Stanley Cup. But once they got there, it all came, you know, off the rails,
tumbling down.
So they lost.
Yeah.
So I think the same thing can happen in baseball. You're hitting, I don't know, 375 heading into the DS, and you go, 5 for 31 at the plate, and now your team is out because they count on you to be that big bat in the lineup. And that is where I think the good teams like Atlanta, like the Dodgers, the Rangers, the Astros, teams like that, they have more than one good hitter. So if somebody goes cold, they can pick up the slack. But that's easier.
But the teams can't go cold.
Correct. I mean, just like everything else, playoffs are a whole different entity in every sport, whether it's hockey, baseball, football. When you get to the postseason, everybody's 0-0. Everybody starts 0-0.
And everybody
right.
And everybody knows everything about everybody.
Correct. Yep, they've got
Phil. You're not.
Yep, correct.
You're not sneaking up anybody.
Nope. Hey, Joe, is it 14,
in October?
14-3?
Still 7-3 right now.
It's still 7-3 or is it 14-3?
7-3.
7-3.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw it pop up say 14-3. Okay. They must have called the touchdown.
But Florida's 3.
Well, they just have. Well, they haven't caught up to the. I guess been maybe a little bit ahead.
No.
But
that was a hard hit.
And flag is down.
Oh, they're gonna say leading with the head. You go head hunting.
He might have.
No, not that hard.
Because usually when you have a hard hit and they throw a flag, that means they're going after the targeting penalty.
It was a shoulder pad to shoulder pad.
Okay. Yeah, they sometimes most majority of the time they'll throw the flag for targeting, which you got to be very careful because sometimes they say it's targeting and then they call it back and say no, he did hit with his shoulder pad or hit him
shoulder
in the chest,
shoulder,
not in the head.
It was shoulder pad. Both players hit with their shoulder pads.
That's good. That's good. I mean, I definitely don't want to see somebody get hurt. Excuse me, at any level.
That was real stupid, Florida.
They've done a lot of dumb things recently, so.
4th and 1.
Offside?
Yes.
Defensive offside. Yeah, that young team. You got a young team, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Now Florida
sticks.
Florida's offense jumped.
Oh, false start.
False start.
Oh, false start. Okay.
So
it's the other way around.
Now those are killers.
Yeah, that. Yes, I mean, you have a good drive going. and you are down, you're trying to get a field goal or a touchdown, and it's 4th and 1. You got a shot to get a first down, and you jump off sides, and it's a 5-yard penalty. Now it's 4th and 6. And yeah,
And then you missed the kick.
Still 7-3 with 13:35
Yes.
left in the first half.
all right, I mean that's okay. So they're only down by 4.
It's a game.
It's still a football game. It hasn't gotten off the rails quite yet in Utah.
It's still early.
Mile.
Well, I mean, I think Utah. Oh, well, we can talk about that because we're going to get into college football. But I think Utah could be one of those teams that
Surprises people.
Yeah, I mean they I think they can win the Pac-12. I think that's a definite. I mean, not saying it's a definite, but I think that they'll
It's a
be
definite possibility.
in it again, like they've been the last couple years before the conference, falls to pieces.
Play spoilers for a couple teams.
And then some.
Yeah,
Well, I think the Utes. I think after SC, I think the Utes have to be considered the best team in the Pac-12.
I would agree with that because USC went out and scored 56 points against San Jose State last Saturday.
Yeah, but I think the 4 of us could score 50.
What was your guys' take with the game in Ireland? Notre Dame embarrassed Navy.
They beat Navy. Yeah,
Yeah, before it started.
Notre Dame sent Navy down like a sinking ship.
It did.
Yeah. Well, Navy's a
It was
new
amazing.
head coach. Navy's got a new, and they still run that triple option offense, which
Yeah.
Oh, you
I think they're legally required to.
anymore.
I think they're legally required to run the triple option.
Yeah.
Well, I think the triple option could be effective in modern college football if you had a passing game.
Well,
Yes.
he almost broke that one.
But with the way that Navy is in a bind because they can't because of the way that the Naval Academy has to recruit. And the same with the Army. If you have to be assigned, you have to receive a commission from your senator before you can go to the academy. And so if you don't. And with the way that big money recruiting is now, the military academies are never going to recruit good talent anymore.
No.
And the true guy that wants to play at, we talk about this a lot on, every year when Army Navy comes around or anytime the military academies come up.
Mm-hmm.
Is that when you go to a military academy, you don't go to play football. You go to become a commissioned officer in one of the branches of the United States' military. And when you don't just have school. You don't just have like the rest of the schools around like Utah and Florida for example. When classes end, they don't have 3 hours of drill. They don't have 3 hours of Army shit to do before they can get back to football. When they're done with their classes, they can get back to football. And on top of with the military academies, they have all their football stuff to do, all their school stuff to do, and then all of their military stuff to do.
Correct.
And so, when you're done being a student, and you're done being an athlete, you're still commissioned. You're still a commissioned officer. Is not the right word because you haven't been given your commission yet because you haven't graduated school. But you're still in the process of becoming a commissioned officer in the military.
Mm-hmm.
And so you still have to do all your Army shit or your Navy shit. And so it takes a certain caliber of person that is willing to take on that load and be willing to be a commissioned officer in the military. And frankly, as far as I'm concerned, I'd rather lose on the football field than the battlefield.
Correct.
So that means that every year Navy gets thumped by Notre Dame, so be it.
Yeah. Well, I think, again, that's what, at the end of the year, that's what makes the Army-Navy game so special is the fact that those kids are not going to go to the NFL. All those kids are going to go to the battlefield or do whatever they do for the Army or whatever they do for the Navy. They're not going to be getting big contracts and playing on Sundays. They're going to be putting their life on the line every day for us.
Yep.
So, that's the biggest difference
Incredible.
with those games is the fact that, and I'll be honest with you, I always get teary-eyed when they do the thing before the game. Like they'll have some kind of emotional thing about, Army and Navy and what it means to the players and the families that, are the families of the soldiers that are on the field and they're in the stands. And it's cool to see the cadets from both academies present, there. See the president. I mean, usually the president is there as well to do the coin toss. So that's always a cool thing too, to see that. And that would be, honestly, that would be a cool thing to get a fresh credential to. Would be the Army.
Yeah, it's a top 5.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a bucket list. It's a bucket list game for me.
That one, not only so much as not to get a credential, just to get a ticket, just to go to the game itself and
absolutely
be in Lincoln Financial Field and be there.
That environment.
Army Navy, like this is Army Navy live and in not on TV. This is you're there
live and in person.
Yeah,
live and in person.
Yep, you're there. You get to feel what both academies do when they score a touchdown or when they come on the field, and it's.
As long as Army wins, it's a good game.
That would definitely be a very awesome experience to get.
Army beat Navy.
Mm-hmm. So if you guys want to, we can dive into this week's games. This is the top 25. So we'll kind of do what we do before. I'll give you guys the line and the over/under, and then you guys can tell me who you like. If you like the line, if you're like over/under or whatever. We're going to start at noon on Peacock, and this is the East Carolina Pirates on the road in Ann Arbor to play the Wolverines. Michigan is a 36-point favorite. The over/under is 51.5 and a hook.
Michigan, the over and the points.
Exactly.
Okay.
All the way Michigan.
I agree. I agree with I agree with that. With that line.
Michigan's going to be playing pissed off.
Yeah, because Harbaugh, they got Harbaugh and their offensive coordinator out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both of them out for the first 4 games, from what I heard.
Moore's out 1 game and Harbaugh's out 3 games.
3, okay.
Touchdown, Utah.
Yeah, that's not a shock.
Damn it.
12 p.m. on ABC. The Virginia Commodores, right? Is that Virginia?
No. Cavaliers are on
Vanderbilt
the Commodores.
They're on the road in Nashville at Nissan Stadium.
Where the Commodores?
To play they're playing the Volunteers. They're playing Tennessee. The Vols are a 28-point favorite. The over/under is 56 in that game.
Tennessee.
Tennessee wins.
Unfortunately, Tennessee.
I'd say I'll take Tennessee all the way.
Brad.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't expect it's early still that they have a shot to come back. It's early. We'll see. I mean, I'm not expecting a lot out of them. The 12 o'clock game on Fox is Dion's team, Colorado is on the road in Fort Worth to play the TCU Horned Frogs. TCU is a 20.5-point favorite. The over-under is 63 and a hook. Who do you guys like?
Give me the over. Give me the over. Give me you, TCU.
TCU wins. Colorado covers.
I take TCU in the
And,
points.
and Colorado covers. No, Colorado covers. No, I think that's going to be like 45-42, 51, 48. I think that's going to be a barn burner of a game.
Okay. The 12 o'clock game on ESPN is Arkansas State on the road in Norman. The Sooners are a 35.5-point favorite. Over-under is 58.
I'm going to wash my mouth out with bleach after I say this, but I'm going Oklahoma.
Yeah, I'd take the Sooners too.
Oklahoma.
In the upset of the decade, no, Oklahoma.
The 12 o'clock game on FS1 is Utah State on the road in Iowa City to play the number 25 Iowa Hawkeyes. The Hawkeyes are a 23.5-point favorite. The over-under is 43.
Hawkeyes.
Iowa.
Hawkeye.
Okay, I agree with that. The next game is Mercer on the road in Oxford to play Ole Miss. There's no line or
Ole Miss will kill
over-under.
them.
I'm going Ole Miss.
Yeah, I'll take Ole Miss too. I think the Rebels will be the Rebels might be the dark knight this year in the SEC West. Not a
The
lot
dark
of
horse.
talk about them, and they'll surprise a lot of people. The next one, guys, is what do we have? There we go. The next one is the number 15 Oregon Ducks are at home in Eugene. They'll face Portland State again. There's no line or over under in that game either. Ducks. Okay.
Quack, quack.
The CBS game, the Big Ten SEC, the Big Ten CBS game at 3:30. The Ohio State Buckeyes are on the road in Bloomington to play the Hoosiers. Ohio State's a 30-point favorite. The over/under is 59.
Ohio State.
Okay.
Ohio State, but Indiana's tricky like that though. Indiana loves these games, and Ohio State better be ready to play because Indiana loves to play spoiler in week 1. So, it's a Big Ten game in week 1, and those games are tricky. So, Ohio State, the points in the over, but don't be shocked if Indiana gives them a game.
That's cool. The next game, guys, is at 3:30 p.m. It is Boise State. The Broncos are on the road in Husky Stadium to play Washington. The Washington is a 14-point favorite. Why is this ad keep playing?
I'll go Washington.
There we go.
I'll go Washington on that one too.
Yeah, the Huskies are a. Let me go back down here real quick. Let's see. The Huskies are a 14 favorite, and it's 58 and a hook is the over/under.
I'm gonna take Boise State. I'm gonna buck the trend and take Boise State.
It's gonna be a nice 75 degrees in Washington. Seattle that night. Saturday afternoon. The next game is 3:30 p.m. on Fox. It'll have Rice, who is a new member of the AAC. They're on the road in Austin to play Texas. There's no over/under and there's no line in that game.
Texas is going to win, but Rice is going to. It's going to be a close game, so it won't be a blowout.
Not a shot. Texas is big.
I'm going to say 50-30.
They have
52-10.
Hey, Gerald, they have tickets as low as $8 for that game on Saturday.
Nosebleed seats.
Yeah, that's up in the nosebleed section.
So
Up in the middle of nowhere.
The next game on NBC is Tennessee State on the road against number 13, the Fighting Irish. Again, there's no over/under. There's no line.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame.
The next game at 3:30 is in Madison, as Buffalo will visit the Badgers. Wisconsin's a 28-point favorite. The over/under is 54.
Wisconsin.
Did you say 28?
28, yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I like the Badgers.
Okay.
The Badgers, the points in the over.
I'm going to follow
Wait,
Adam on
give me.
this
What was the points? What was the
Over/under is 54.
four? I'm gonna pick the under.
Okay. All right. 6 o'clock game is UT Martin on the road in Athens to play the number 1 Bulldogs. Again, no over/under, no line in that game. Okay.
Georgia.
Yeah, UT Martin. No. You talk about the upset of the century.
That would be yeah. Next
That
to
would be-
USF, next to USF beating Alabama in a couple weeks. Yes, that would be the
Yeah.
century. The next game is at 6:30. Nevada is on the road in LA to play USC. The Trojans are a 38-point favorite. The over/under is
USC.
56.
USC.
USC, the points in the over.
Okay.
USC will get to 66 on their own if they want.
The next game will feature the number 16 Kansas State. They're at home against Southern Missouri State. No line, no over/under in
K-State.
K-State. Okay. The next game is at College Station. New Mexico is coming to town to play the Aggies. The Aggies are a 39-point favorite. The over/under is 49.
Jesus.
New Mexico.
New Mexico in an upset. Well, that might
Yeah, it would be the upset of the decade.
that might get what's his name fired in week 1.
No, I'm going. I'm going.
Jimbo Fisher might be getting the Evo.
I'm going.
Jimbo Fisher won't have to get fired because they will kill him.
Yep.
A&M going to win it.
Okay.
Yeah, A&M.
On the SEC network at 7:30, you have Middle Tennessee visiting Tuscaloosa. The Alabama is a 39-point favorite. The over/under is 52.
Alabama, the points in the over. And Alabama can get to 52 all on their own.
Okay.
I'm going to follow Adam on that one. I'm going to go the same way he's going.
Yeah, I don't see Middle Tennessee upsetting Alabama, especially at home. The next game is at 7:30 on NBC. It's the Mountaineers of West Virginia visiting Happy Valley. Penn State is a 20.5-point favorite. The over/under is 49 and a hook.
Penn State in the points.
Okay.
On Penn State, West Virginia covers in the under.
Okay. All right. The next game normally takes place at the end of the season, but it's taking place in week 1, and that has the number 21 Tar Heels on the road. Well, they're in Charlotte to play the Gamecocks of South Carolina. North Carolina is a 2.5-point favorite. The over/under is 64 and a hook.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
South Carolina.
North Carolina. This is a tricky one. North Carolina. The points.
The coach of North Carolina, right?
Correct.
Mike Brown.
North Carolina, the points, and the under.
I'm
The
taking
under.
North Carolina.
Okay. All right. The 8 o'clock game on ESPNU has South Alabama on the road in New Orleans to play the Tulane Green Wave. Tulane's a 6.5-point favorite. The over/under is 52.
Tulane.
As much as I'd like to pick the Jaguars, it's Tulane.
Yeah. Tulane's going to take it.
I think Tulane might win the AAC again this year. They're a very good football team. Then there's a couple games, guys, on Sunday this week. The number 18 Oregon State Beavers are on the road in San Jose to play San Jose State. The Beavers are a 16.5-point favorite. The over/under is 55.
That could be a really good game.
It should be.
No, I'm going to take Oregon. San Jose State will cover. What was the points again?
The points are 55. 16 and a half is the
Yeah,
Beavers are favored.
yeah. I meant the over-under. 55.
Who's playing again, Brad?
Oregon State against San Jose State.
We're taking Oregon State.
Yeah, Oregon State. The under and the San Jose State covers.
Okay. This game right here might be the game of the week, and it's happening on Sunday, but it's number 5 LSU against number 8 Florida State in Orlando. The Tigers are a 2-point favorite. The over-under is 56.5.
LSU and the over.
Florida State.
Yeah, that's
Both teams really need this one.
this
Both
this
teams
will be
really need this one.
a statement win. If whoever wins this football game will start off with a statement win right off the bat. So,
Both teams, whichever team wins this one, has an inside track to the playoff.
mm-hmm.
I think it means more to FSU than it does to LSU, because LSU will still get to play Bama. They'll still get to play Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Florida. They still have some really good games against some really good teams that will help their resume. I'm gonna take Florida State. I'm gonna take Florida State. And you said it was Florida State to win outright and the under.
Okay.
I'm taking LSU and the over.
I hate to say this, but I'm taking the Noles. I know I'm going against the SEC and I'm going against, but Florida State. I think this
Florida State's got everything to prove.
This is their year, and I think this is going to be a nice big win for them right off the bat, right off the get go. I'll watch this game on Sunday. I'll find some time to watch it Sunday night when I get home from my sister's house. But I definitely will be watching the game.
This is a huge game for Florida State.
Yeah.
Because it's a statement win. And like I said, LSU has some big games that they can still go out and get impressive wins against impressively ranked competition. Florida State has this one and Clemson, maybe? If Clemson actually performs.
Right.
And the ACC championship game, but who's that going to be against? As 7-5 UNC, an 83 Duke, a 9-3 Clemson.
8-4 NC State.
Yeah, an 84 NC State, or
somebody.
The Gamecocks are in the.
Yeah, South Carolina's in the SEC, so they're not. They're not in that conference. But yeah, the ACC basically this year it's got to be FSU, Clemson, and North Carolina. I think out of those three, that'll be your ACC champion. Miami, maybe.
Miami, but it's hard to gauge what Miami because every year since 01, ever since the Larry Coker years, when that all fell apart, they said wait until next year, and every year it's been Miami's back. Miami will go on a tear at the end of the year. They'll win 3 out of the last 4 to finish 8-4, 9-3, 10-2, and win the ACC, and then fall flat in the bowl game against against Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I just don't see Miami presenting FSU much of a challenge. And where this game comes down is going to be in, I think it means more overall for FSU. They have to win this game, and they really need to win this game convincingly. They need to win by 10 or 15 points to really put the stamp on this game and really show that they deserve to be there when it comes down to when they're picking against an undefeated Georgia undefeated Michigan or Ohio State, an undefeated LSU, Texas, sorry, not LSU, because obviously if they win, then LSU will have one loss. A one loss Alabama, a one loss, a one loss LSU, a one loss, you could have 4 or 5 teams that are still undefeated at the end of the year. You have Georgia undefeated, you have Alabama undefeated, you have LSU undefeated, you have Texas undefeated, Michigan, Ohio State, and Texas. And having a signature win over a top 5 opponent and in week 1 is really going to help pad the resume when they're, if Georgia, Michigan, SC, and Texas are all undefeated, and Florida State is at 5 with a win against LSU, that may be better than a win against Alabama or a win against whoever SC plays.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think it's going to be. I don't really know, who's going to have more fans. Obviously, it's in Orlando. Tallahassee's not that far away.
That'd be 90% FSU.
It's more FSU than. But I'm sure there'll be people traveling from Baton Rouge too, in Louisiana. And I'm sure that there are LSU in the state of Florida too. But it's interesting that it's a neutral.
LSU does travel well.
It's a neutral game for
LSU does travel well.
They do.
But I think you'll see 85-90% FSU fans on Saturday night, depending on how they partition the tickets. Because I think it's considered an FSU home game, correct?
Yes, FSU is the home team, correct.
And I think it's a big week. It's. I hesitate. I hate to say this, but it's a measuring stick game in week 1. There are very, very rarely do you get an opportunity to measure yourself against one of the best teams in the country in week 1. Very rarely do we have a top 10 matchup in week 1. And both teams.
Every year.
Well,
In week 1, that is.
no, I don't mean. I meant each team. Very rarely does any. Usually there's a top 10 matchup in week 1, but very rarely do you get to match yourself up against the top 10 team in week 1.
Mm-hmm.
And FSU has everything to prove. Their season hangs in the balance in week 1, as far as I'm concerned. Because if they lose to LSU, if Georgia's undefeated, Michigan's undefeated, Texas is undefeated, and LSU is undefeated, and their one loss, or even if let's say it's Texas, Georgia, Michigan, Texas are undefeated, SC, Alabama, and FSU have one loss.
No.
Then you're sitting there going, and Tennessee has one loss, and Tennessee, if Tennessee would probably have 2 losses then, so they would be out. And you could have 4 or 5 undefeated teams, and that one loss is going to really, really sting if you have 4 or 5 undefeated teams, because those 4, especially the Power 5 conference undefeated. If LSU is undefeated, if Georgia's undefeated, if Michigan's undefeated, if Texas is undefeated, and SC is undefeated, you don't have there's no room for a one-loss team. That one-loss team is automatically out. And so obviously week 1 is there's a whole 11 other weeks that need to be played, and a lot of things can happen. But if you're playing a top 5 team in week 1 or a top 10 team in LSU's case, LSU still has a chance to knock off Alabama. LSU is still going to play Georgia, whether it be in the regular season or in the SEC championship game. Even if they're sitting there if they knock off Alabama, knock Alabama out, and they play a competitive game against Georgia and lose in the championship game, because I'm not 100% sure if they're playing Georgia in the regular season or not. But if they lose to Georgia in the championship game, but it's close, and they're sitting there with and it's in Texas and SC has a SC drops a game to Utah. Utah drops a game to UCLA, and you're looking at and Alabama has 2 losses because they lose to Texas, they lose to Georgia. You're looking at Alabama. You're looking at Georgia, Michigan, and Texas undefeated, and the rest are all 1-loss teams. And LSU's 1 losses to Florida State won't, and Florida State's or FSU's losses to LSU, and LSU's losses to Alabama, and Alabama was a top 5 team. It's really going to weigh heavier on the metric.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, I gotta run. I'm sitting here feeling weak and starting to shake.
No,
Okay,
fine,
bud.
bro.
Go get some food, and
We'll
talk to you soon.
Something to eat, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Sounds
We'll
good.
touch you in a bit, bud. Take care of yourself, okay?
Oh yeah.
The last top 25 game, guys, is
Well, now that he's gone, we'll talk crap behind his back. No, it's not.
on Monday night. It's the Clemson Tigers on the road in Durham to play the Blue Devils. Clemson's a 13-point favorite. The over/under is 55 and a hook.
Yeah, I like Clemson. Clemson needs a bounce back year. Clemson 100% needs a bounce back year. I expect Clemson to win in a pretty convincing fashion. Like we said, like we alluded to, Clemson's Duke's a basketball school. And Clemson 100% needs a bounce back year.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let me see. I'm gonna try. Yeah, let me see. This is finally gonna work. All right. So let me see. So South Florida is on the road to play Western Kentucky on Saturday afternoon. The line is 11.5 for the Hilltoppers. The over/under is 70 in that game.
Ooh, they won some points, aren't they?
I guess they figure that Western Kentucky is going to run the score up. So,
Well, it's the first game in the Alex Goldstein era, or Goldstein, or how you say his name.
Alex Golish.
Golish, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a chance to come out and start on the right foot. Yeah, well, it's only 11 points. You said 11, right?
11.5. Yeah, it's 12.
11.5, okay.
Yeah.
It's you can look at it either way. So it's a 11, 12, it's in between. It's a chance for FSU to start out the year right. If they can cover, they can cover, they can find some confidence, and then they can go knock off Alabama. 1-1 with a win against Alabama, you're feeling pretty all right.
Yeah. ESPN gave us a 2% chance to beat Alabama, but there is a chance, small chance, but there's a chance.
Right. You're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance. There is a chance. I think South Florida on Saturday afternoon. I don't know. I don't think they're going to beat Western Kentucky. I think that what's going to happen is it's going to show where they're at as a program.
Yeah.
Still that team that last year couldn't tackle, couldn't get off the field on third down, and on some offensive drives, made bonehead mistakes, cost them touchdowns, and they got a field goal instead or a turnover. If they can change that around this year, I think they have South Florida could win 6 games. I've looked at the schedule. There are 6 winnable games on that. I don't think this one I don't think is going to winnable game. I think next Saturday is, but we'll see.
I would say this week's more winnable than next Saturday.
Yeah.
Next Saturday they play FAMU. They play FAMU before.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought they played Alabama. Alabama played Texas next.
Alabama's the second home game.
I think this week is a winnable game. I think 11 points is way better than than where they were last year, where every game was 25 and a half.
Yeah.
I think they're better. I think they're starting the year off with more optimism, and I think, Golish has to, you got to come in, you got to win on first down on both sides of the ball. You start right there. Start there. Positive plays on first down. Not giving up 8, 10, 15 yards on first down. Getting them to second down and defensively men. Well, 2nd and 6, 2nd and 7, 2nd and 8. And then getting, like you said, getting off the field on third down. I mean, and that's how football works, right? Winning on third down, first down, winning on third down. Don't commit bonehead. I don't mind a good penalty. If you got beat, you got burned on a go route, and you reach out and you grab the guy. I'll take that. We'll give up that 15 yards. We'll take the flag. We'll get after it again. But don't hold. Don't hold on 33 when don't hold on the back side of the line. Don't hold. Don't hold on the outside on 33 when you're going to pick up 8 yards and a first down, for God's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Don't false start on 33. You're going to back us up to 3rd and 8. Don't, making a smart throw, taking what's given to you, being efficient and effective in the playbook, and knowing what you're capable of, knowing of being confident in your playmaking ability. I think that's what's lacked at USF over the last handful of years, even going back to the Charlie Strong era, the second iteration of it, is just confidence in their playmaking abilities. You had some definite playmakers. Eddie McDoom was a playmaker, but you didn't utilize him properly. You could have done some dynamic things in the AAC with a kid like McDoom. And and the thing about something I was watching, this was a couple of years ago now, but 90% of your players were from Florida. And my thing is is broadening your horizons and recruiting in cold weather states. Where kids that 1 and 2 star athletes who are going to end up at a Central Michigan or Eastern Michigan or Western Kentucky or a Pennsylvania Southern, or pick whatever Marshall, pick whatever crappy school that's going to be in cold weather. Going and investing in recruiting in the Midwest, in the Northeast, and the upper, in big sky country in Montana and Idaho, and being able to recruit 1 and 2 star recruits instead of having to settle for the scraps of Florida. That's gonna be huge, and it's no disrespect to the kids that they do have, but Miami and Florida and Florida State's cast-offs, and UCF's cast-offs and the malcontents and problem children that nobody wants to deal with, don't make for a good roster.
Right. Speaking of that, I just read something on ESPN that the ACC will be discussing. They'll be discussing. Looking for the dang word. To expand the conference, adding more teams to the conference. I guess on Friday, I guess they're going to have a call. I think they're still kind of interested in. I think I want to say all the ones that are left in the Pac-12, the Stanford, the Oregon State, those teams that are left, the 4 that are left. I think they're interested in bringing them to the ACC. The problem is, here's the thing with going from west to east like that is travel budget. Like, as a university going to pay for not only football but every other sport that now has to travel to the east when they go
across the country?
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean.
It's not near across the country.
Correct. Lou, I was gonna say Rutgers is at home on Sunday afternoon at noon They're hosting the very, very troubling Northwestern team. And the Rutgers is a 6-point favorite. The over-under is 39 and a hook.
I'm taking Rutgers.
39 and a, they're expecting both teams to score upwards of 17 points. Oh, wow. Yeah, like I said a couple weeks ago when we were discussing the Big Ten, is Greg Schiano's a character. He's a fascinating case study in case heads, or head cases. That's what I meant. But yeah, I agree with you. I like Rutgers. I like Rutgers and the points in the under. I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be ugly all night. I think both teams will struggle to get to 14. I think it'll be that kind of game. I think it'll be a very sloppy game. Lots of turnovers. Lots of punting on 4th and 22. I think if you like defensive football, or if you just hate offensive football, it's the game for you.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I was going to say, Lou, how far are you from Piscataway?
About an hour.
Not far enough.
That's not too bad. I mean, that's not bad.
Hey.
To go see them play. That'd be kind of cool to watch them play live.
I don't talk to you very much about things, but I had a thought there, Lou, because I'm planning on meeting with Gerald next year. Do you fly?
Do I fly?
Yeah.
I haven't flown in years, but I have flown.
Because I was thinking about we can fly up to Watkins Glen and catch the Watkins Glen race together.
Yeah, but that's up in New York State. I'm not anywhere near there.
Right, that's why you need to fly.
That's why you're talking.
That's why I asked you if you flew. Because I looked up. I looked up. How far from Jersey City are you?
Yeah. Well,
not to dox you.
Yeah.
Not to dox you, but how far from Jersey City are you?
From where?
Jersey City.
Jersey City?
Yeah.
About half an hour.
Okay. So, because it's a 5-hour drive it's a 4.5-hour drive from Jersey City to Watkins Glen.
Yeah. That's a pretty good ride.
Yeah, it's a pretty good ride. And so I flew Brad up to North Carolina. We just met in North Carolina, and we flew back to Florida. I'm gonna fly to Austin, and so I was gonna say if you wanted to go to the Watkins Glen race with me, we can talk about putting that together next year or the year after next.
When is the Watkins Glen?
Late August, usually.
I think we're a little bit late now, aren't we?
Yeah, well, obviously we're not talking about this year. We're talking about next year or the year after next.
That's more realistic because I think it's a little bit.
Yeah. So, hey, yeah, unless you got a time machine stuck in your closet.
Still working
Go back in time. Hey, let me go back in time and erase the bad weather in North Carolina, and then we'll call it a day.
Yeah, right. But no, it was just something I was kicking around in my head and wanted to ask you about. I suppose I could have just messaged you, but I didn't think about it. But yeah, if you're interested in going to a NASCAR race with me, I've already taken Brad to rain out. Hopefully, now if me and Joe get rained out, I'm not going to another NASCAR race with anybody ever again. I'm going by myself.
Rain out. That's all we need.
I'm telling you, you need to come to Daytona in February. There is no rain in February in Florida.
It didn't rain in Daytona last weekend either, and I was pissed.
So
I was pissed. I was like, instead of going to Charlotte, I should have just come in. But you know how that goes, right? If we had decided if I had flown down to Daytona, and next
be a damn hurricane here on that.
Well, it would have been raining. If we would have gotten rained out and had to go home but yeah, if you're in.
Let me ask you this question, guys. I saw somebody in Gerald's chat say that Daytona should be taken off the circuit because there was another major accident on that track. I don't know what you guys are. I'm not a NASCAR expert, but what happened for
Neither am I.
comment like that?
I think it's recency bias. Um, because it just had, like I was saying on Gerald's show. I don't know if you watched my commentary, but there were a couple of big wrecks, but that happens. That happens every time we go to Daytona or Talladega.
It's nothing
And
unusual.
the biggest takeaway I had from it is both guys walked away. Both guys walked away under their own power. Were checked and released from the hospital the next day. And there's a level of danger that you're just going to have inherent in sports. That we will never get the injuries, the danger out of sports unless we're going to start playing video game sports, esports, and unless all sports are esports. You're just not, unless we start having virtual sports where we're playing we're watching a VR headset of people playing sports. There's an inherent risk in the business,
Mm-hmm.
and I think a lot of it has to do with unless all sports are just going to be Major League Fishing, which I mean I like Major League Fishing, but um you're not going to take the danger out of sports. You're not going to take the risk. I've seen guys blow hamstrings running down to first base. I've seen guys blow out a knee casually going over to catch a pop fly.
Yep.
And
Outfielders run into each other and have a concussion.
right, I was thinking about something that wasn't contact, non-contact injuries is what I was thinking of. Where you don't. I've seen guys tear ligaments in their knee going up the court on a not even on a fast break on a get back. After a bucket, the guy comes up lame with a torn hamstring. I've seen guys blow a tire going into the end, on a back skate and blow a tire and barrel into the wall, into the inboards, and rupture tendons, break bones, and Daytona and Talladega and Atlanta as the reconfiguration of Atlanta. You just that is quintessential NASCAR. And to take that away, because this is something me and Gerald were discussing on in his show and Lou as well. But like to put 500 pounds of weight in the car or reduce the horsepower by 100 pounds, what happens to the racing product? And if you make the racing product bad, and nobody wants to race it, nobody wants to watch it, it's not, then you are going to end up having to take Daytona off the because it's not worth being there. It's not worth even it's not worth even driving. There's something about race car driving where they are extreme athletes in a way. Whether it be no matter what kind of motorsport, whether it be dirt bikes on a backyard on a backyard track that your dad built for you, or it's professional F1 drivers barreling off into a corner at in excess of 210 miles an hour. There is inherent risk. And it's like Nicky Lauda said back in the mid 70s, 20%. I can live with 20%. And as a fan, I don't like crashes because it makes it so that those guys don't have a chance to win or at least finish, right? I like to see all 40 cars finish in an amazing 5-wide path dash for the line. But one mistake and you're barrel rolling down the backstretch. It just happens. Guys make mistakes. Guys miss time runs. You can. I know a lot of our audience are football fans, so to equate it to a football type situation, it's kind of timing your jump on a deep ball, and you can time it right, but if the other guy times it better or times it wrong and puts his helmet in your knee and blows and you come down awkwardly and you twist an ankle and rupture a tendon in your leg in your knee, was it obviously the guy didn't want to hurt you, but you ended up getting hurt. And, or, and like in racing, especially at Daytona and Talladega, there's something we didn't get to talk about because the race ended up getting rained out, and it's something that I was going to kind of point out to you is how the air can move the cars around, where you can be driving straight. Dale Jarrett was talking about this about 20, 30 years ago now. You're holding the wheel dead straight. Him and Jeff Burton were discussing this back when they were back on the 4th gen car. You're holding dead straight, right? Steering wheel, you got your tape, your toes, and you're holding it, and you're holding the wheel dead straight, and the car is half a lane to the left, half a lane to the right, just because the air moves you so much.
Yes.
And so it's hard to say that you did something wrong, or it's just the nature of the way that we race those tracks is that calamity can happen in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
One mistimed bump.
I was just curious, but because I saw that comment and I'm like, I mean, I understand. To me, it's a part of NASCAR. It's a part of motorsports in general.
Yes.
Just like with hockey, you don't want to see a guy go down the ice and he ends up getting cross-checked or slashed by a player because you don't want to see that. You want to see the guy score the goal. You want to see the NASCAR drivers finish all in one piece. You don't want to see somebody get hurt or killed, as it happened in NASCAR. I'm sure it's happened in Indy and all of the motorsports. It's happened, and you don't want to see somebody get killed. But again, it's the risk that you take and the love of the sport that you do, whether that's driving cars at 200 miles an hour or throwing a ball to a wide receiver or hitting a ball or hitting whatever. To be that, it's the love of the game that you have, and that's why you take the risk that you take getting in a NASCAR. So, I mean, I would hate to see NASCAR leave Daytona because that's the Super Bowl. Yeah, that's like the race that everybody looks forward to at the beginning of the season in February. We roll the calendar around, and the big talk is they're dropping the flag at Daytona and how it used to be a beach race and how they moved it off the beach to the super speedway that they have now in Daytona that I have never been to. I've been to Daytona Beach a bunch in my life, but never been to the track.
Well, there's something that popped up on my notification is for a Falcon 9 heavy launch that they're getting ready to do, and so it made me think about Apollo 1, the disaster of Apollo 1, and those guys there was talks of shutting it down because it was so inherently the risks were the risks were inherent. Obviously that. And if they had to shut it down, we never go to the moon, right? And if humans take risks. It's part of our nature. It's why we're the dominant species on this planet. If we didn't take risks, if we were, we wouldn't have rose to such prominence as a species. Mm-hmm. And we've gone, long gone are the days of gladiators. Long gone are the days of starving animals for entertainment, to starving the lions and sending them against gladiators. And long gone are the days of death sports. And NASCAR has, unfortunately, it took Dale's death to wake the sport up to the dangers inherent in it. But since his death, we haven't lost anyone. Mm-hmm. And we've had Austin Dillon, Ryan Newman, Kyle Edwards. There have been some traumatic, horrific. Kyle Larson is, I'm trying to think of the most serious crashes we've had since 01. those are a couple. Steve Park barrel rolling down the backstretch at Pocono. Jamie McMurray barrel rolling down the backstretch at Talladega in practice. And, there's been some serious. Kyle Busch broke a leg. Denny Hamlin broke his leg, but he didn't die. They didn't die. They came back. They raced again, and both of those two are still racing. Kyle Larson's still racing. Sterling Marlin survived his horrific wreck at Canada. It was awful. Broke his neck. He came back the next year and raced. And to make the money that they make, I'm not, obviously, I'm an advocate for safety. I'm not saying to compromise safety, but just because things aren't perfect doesn't mean you scrap the whole thing.
Why? I can remember, Bud, you're talking about serious crashes. I remember you calling into my other podcast. I think the very first time I ever had that show, you called in and told me about the crash at Daytona, because it happened to be that night. I was in a night or a practice or whatever it was, but
it was 2020. You had a couple of shows. You had Sunshine State Sports Gather, and you were doing it on Monday nights. And the race in Daytona had gotten moved to Monday night. It got rain delayed, and so they had to run it on Monday night. And I called. The race was wrapped up. The race got over with Newman's wreck, and you were still on the air. I was like, I gotta call in. I gotta say something. This is horrible.
Yep.
And I remember telling you something along the lines of we may have lost Ryan Newman at the end of the Daytona 500 this year. And they put the black tarp over the car. They took it back and they took him out in an ambulance, took him right to the hospital. And he was unconscious. And they got him back, and 6 months later he was back in the car. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
What they've been able to accomplish since Dale Scaff. And the safety mandates that they put in place, and the energy absorbing foam in the walls, the energy absorbing design of the car, where the car comes apart, where in a severe crash the car rips itself apart to dissipate as much energy as possible to prevent it from impacting the driver. The things that they've done to make the cars safer, or as safe as possible, because like I said, in all sports the risks are inherent. There's no getting away. There's no getting away from, unless we're going to go to virtual reality sports. The risks are going to be inherent.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I saw that comment in Gerald's thing, and I'm like, I don't think NASCAR is going to pull any races out of Daytona. Those are usually
I don't think that's one of the biggest risks. You want to take that away?
Yeah,
that's true. The biggest. You start the regular starting in the regular season with Daytona. You can't move them off. You can't take them off the calendar.
Gerald just commented, "Sorry, I had to go." I'm like, "No, that's all right, man. Get better, feel better. If you were shaking, go eat better, man. Don't worry about it. Yeah, don't worry.
We'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
Rather not have you go to it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Are they now in the playoffs in NASCAR?
They are in the playoffs. Yes, there's some playoff stretch this weekend.
Where are they at? Right? Where's the first race?
Darlington. They're in Darlington this weekend for the Southern 500 Sunday afternoon or early evening.
And then what is it? But it goes how many races and they eliminate so many drivers? Is that how it works? It's
three race rounds.
Okay.
16, 12, 8, 4. And then the championship race is in Phoenix to determine the champion.
It used to be Homestead. I know that. I know the last
race. It used to be Homestead. Until
He used to be.
2016. I think 2016 was the last year for Homestead.
Yeah. I know they changed it a while back, but I remember
Yeah.
I used to make a joke that the NASCAR season started and ended in the state of Florida because it ended
Yeah.
in Miami, the Miami, South Florida area. Homestead was the city that was ravished in 1994 by Hurricane Andrew. That was a Cat 5 when it struck Homestead, Florida.
Andrew was 92.
92. That was when, that was one of the most devastating hurricanes that we've had in the state, my state.
Yep. That's why you have such a bad pipe-out problem now.
Yeah. So, like I said, other than the people that were impacted by the one that just went through here. Yeah.
Was it as bad as they were? I haven't really heard much. Was it as bad as they were predicting? It seemed like it was rather mild.
So beginning is when it was going to come up the Gulf. We were like, oh, it's going to be tropical storm.
Right.
By the time it got to where it made landfall was a Cat 3. But there was a lot of. I mean, I was watching the news on Wednesday. Obviously, where I live in Pinellas County. So if you look at the state of Florida, we're like the dick of Florida. Like we hang down. That's the county that I live in. So you have Tampa Bay, and then you have the Gulf, and then you have the Atlantic Ocean on the east coast of Florida. Yeah, that's what they call it, Florida, the Pinellas County. But anyway, so once the storm came by at like between midnight and like 3:00 in the morning. So the rain bands went through, and then when I woke up at like 8:15 I had the day off Wednesday. We didn't have to go to work, and I got up and we went outside, and the power was still on, and there were no power outages. There was no flooding like we expected. There was going to be a lot of flooding. That didn't happen. So it's okay that they overshot it. In my area,
yeah, honestly,
I don't know how. From the photos and videos I've seen of where it hit in Cedar Key, different story. I mean, it really did a lot of damage in Cedar Key. There were some spots in Tampa that flooded, and that's not surprising because, again, my state is so low to the water table. If we get a Category 5 hurricane in my area, we'd be under the water. There'd be no doubt. It would be bad. Anytime a Category 5 hurricane hit my county, it'd be like Kevin Costner in Waterworld. That's what we'd be doing. We'd be on boats.
On the top of the roof.
Yeah, top of the roofs of the houses that used to be beneath us. But like I said, I want to extend prayers and thoughts to the people that were affected by the hurricane. I think it's now out in the Atlantic Ocean. I think it's already gone through Georgia and North Carolina. I know it hit Valdosta, Georgia as a Cat 2 or a Cat 1 when it hit Valdosta. And I think it was a tropical storm when it hit the Carolinas, which, guys, I mean, a lot of people, tropical storm meant nothing. Yeah, it can still knock your power out. It can still knock your house down, and it can cause tornadoes. And tornadoes, at least hurricanes, we can somewhat track hurricanes. We can't track tornadoes. So tornadoes can come down at any time and be as big or small and still cause damage. So, Charles says it's a tropical low now. Okay. I know that there's still a major hurricane off the coast of Florida and the Atlantic Ocean. I think the Harvey or whatever the storm was before Idalia came through here. But I guess this is, from what I saw, this is since 2003 or since 2013, it was the eighth major hurricane to hit the Gulf Coast. So we've had 8 major hurricanes since 2000. So the last 10 years, we've had 8 major hurricanes hit Florida, Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, wherever, Georgia, Arkansas, whatever you want to call it. They've been hit. But so that's severe, and then this is this is usually the worst time of the year that we watch. August and September, the 2 months that we pay really close attention to anything that starts off the coast of Africa and then moves across the Atlantic Ocean. The problem that we have now is that the Gulf of Mexico is at like 90 degrees. The water is like intensely warm. So when you get a hurricane, it strengthens very quickly. And when you get into, Cat 3, Cat 4, Cat 5 area, that's bad news from wherever it goes.
Right.
You saw what it did to New Orleans, stuff like that. That's catastrophic wind and rain and storm surge. Is the biggest issue with hurricanes. And hurricanes
it's really nothing.
Here had more storm surge than this one did in our area. So
it's really not. It's not really the rain or the wind that gets you. It's the storm surge.
Correct. So they were predicting.
Somebody's having fun over there.
That's my dog. Yeah, that's my dog. They were predicting 4 to 7 feet of storm surge. It ended up only being I walked out with my roommate. We walked out on Wednesday out to the bay, and the water was up over the seawall, but it was receding back. And then, of course, we had the sky moon or dark moon or whatever the heck it was called. There was a high tide at noon, and they were scared that if the storm had gone by at that time with the storm surge, the high tide would have made the water come in even more. Come to find out, I don't think there was a couple areas above me, north of me, that got a little bit of extra water. But by the time that high tide got there, the water had already been sucked back out into the bay or the Gulf. So it was okay. But yeah, I talked to my boss today. We all went back to work. I think we dodged a major bullet because it could have been a lot worse than it was.
Lucky you.
It could have been a lot worse than it was here on Wednesday.
That's what you were talking about when you were asking us into the show. I was like, yeah, I mean, as long as it was like, said, as long as you have power. And I was like, let me rephrase that. As long as you don't have a 6-foot gash in your roof.
Yeah, no, I saw the comment. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I have power right now. I don't think it's going to go out, but we get 4 o'clock thunderstorms in Florida every day this time of the year, so you never know. But I mean, no, as soon I was again. I thought I was going to be calling a football game tonight, and I had told you guys last week that the game had been switched back to today, and then they come to me and say, nope, because there was no school Tuesday and Wednesday. They're like, no, we're going to have a practice today, and then we're going to have the game tomorrow. I'm like, okay, then why the hell did you reschedule the damn thing? You should have just left it on Friday, and it would have been perfectly cool. So I'm glad I got to do the show, and I'm glad I got my second game. The one thing that I'm going to take away from the first game is I had too much dead air time, so I got to kind of fill that in. But that's something that I can work on. I went to my buddy who helped me get the position. He's like, well, just say this. And I'm like, okay. So I'm going to try to do that tomorrow night when I go to the game.
Right.
I mean,
if you can.
There was a lot of people. It made me freaking nervous, dude. I was like, oh, shit, there's a lot of people here. There was a lot of people at the game on Friday night.
Even if you can't stream it, just record it. Record it on your phone. And then on Saturday or Sunday or when you're in your office on Monday, you got some downtime, listen to it back. If you can stand this on it.
We get the holiday off.
If you can stand it on, I forgot it was Labor Day weekend. Labor Day weekend. So I was going to say I have Monday off. But if you can stomach listening to the sound of your own voice, get a pad of paper or pull up your notes on your phone or whatever, and make notes about what you said, where you're like, okay, that was good, that was good, that was bad, that was okay, and just take some notes, and then next week, you'll have a better understanding of what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, because see, I do the game this week, guys, and then I have, like I said, my first JV game is next Wednesday. I don't have a varsity game until I think the Friday before the Alabama game. I think is my next varsity game. Let me look real quick.
And what you can with that JV game is you can try some things.
Yeah, actually, guys, after this Friday coming up tomorrow, I don't have another varsity game until the 22nd. So
Okay.
that's the week
You're not
after.
doing the road games?
So I have. They asked me, Bud, to do road games. They said that some road games they may ask me to come, but at this point, I'll let them ask me. I'm not going to just
Okay.
assume I'm going to go. But they did. He did
Okay.
mention to me that sometimes they may want me to do road games, but then that would be me going to someone else's field and calling games. If there's someone in their booth and they say, hey, we have our guy too. Can you guys both, I don't mind working with somebody else. I think it would be kind of cool to work with the other team's announcer or whatever. Or if they want me to go because the other team doesn't even have an announcer, it is that way too. I mean, it's, one way or the other, it'll just give me more experience. And again, I was, my aunt was at the game last Friday and she said in the beginning of the game, she could tell that I was nervous, and I was. I'm going to be flat honest. I was very nervous, because you can do it when you're by yourself. You can do it in the shower when there's no one around you. But then when there are people, it's like playing golf too. Like you can hit balls on the driving range, dance around to music, but then when there's 15,000 people standing on the fairway, it's a whole different story. And there was a lot of people on both the home and the visiting side, bleachers. So it's like, oh, shit, this is real. There are
This is
people.
serious.
Yeah, there are people. You're not protected. I mean, no one was gonna beat me up or anything. I wasn't worried about like getting into a fight with anybody. It was hard. I don't expect too many people this week because of what happened a couple of days ago with the storm. Some people are still picking up, but then you never know. I may go tomorrow night and there might be another full house of people. I mean,
Yeah, especially if things are calmed down and everybody wants to get away from it for a couple hours and just and have some fun and deal with some football. It could be a full house. It could be another full house.
I know the school did. I know the school did very, very well in the concession area because I was down to talk to the concession guy after the game. They did very, very well. So they're hoping that because that money goes back to the team. So every game they do, that's some of the money they can use to buy uniforms, equipment, or trips, bus trips, whatever it might be, gas for the bus. That is something.
Upgrade the facilities.
Upgrade their facilities. So. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to getting it tomorrow night. My buddy that got me the gig, that Josh was on here, with us a couple weeks ago, and I said, "Hey, I'll see you guys on Friday." And he goes, "My man," he goes, "I'll see you." I said, "I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be there."
And then
I don't plan on missing out.
that first one, of course, you get your first game jitter. And then this week, like I said, even if you can't stream it, just record it. Just record it on your phone. Pull up a record. You need to download an app to record or whatever. Record it on your phone, and then sit down. And you can do two things. You can transcribe the whole thing, right? Just write out everything you said, and then you can then listen to it a second time and make notes. And then you can take your transcription and compare it to your notes, and get a better feel for what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, what you think you need to improve. And then if you want, you can send me your notes, and I can look them over and.
Well, I mean, if you
give
guys
some feedback,
I can record the game, just the audio part of it, and then I
can
speak on here if you guys want. I can do that too. I can play.
That's what I was wondering. If one thing I was thinking about is you could talk to them about just playing it with no video, right? You can go live on Facebook, put your phone down on the counter or on the table in front of you. Not showing the players, but just showing your. And then I personally can listen to it, and you can listen to it, and Jared can listen to it. And you can upload it to the you can start a stream in the Walker Report, if they'll allow it. And
I don't think, Bud, they'd have an issue with me doing audio. So let me see if I can go live with no video tomorrow night, and you guys can listen to the game live tomorrow night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody out there that's watching this show, I'm going to go live tomorrow night, just audio. You're not going to be able to see me. You're not going to see the plays because I can't show video because they don't want the video getting out, and then they, end up causing, plays that aren't seen by other teams. But I will go live. Before we get off here, Lou, do you want to go ahead and press your show button for Saturday?
All right. Enhanced Sports Show rolls on Saturday, even though despite Labor Day, we're still on 4 to 6 Saturday, Eastern Time. Number is 512-543-4662. We got a lot to do. We're going to cover the last of the NFL cuts that just happened yesterday at 3 p.m. We'll look at take a look at the FIBA World Basketball Championships. The U.S. Open championships are still underway. Recap the Little League World Series. Oh boy, that was a doozy for sure. U.S. Open tennis. Our college football predictions, our first NFL predictions of the year, because the first game was next week at this time. Oh boy, that'll be something. Major League Baseball, we'll have our look, of course, at the standings and the September schedule, plus the ridiculous time of the week, sports trivia, this week in sports history, the feel-good story of the week, and anything else I can think of, all in a 2-hour show. Good luck on that one. So if you got time between 4 and 6:30, give a call, because I think I might need more help than I can ask for this week. And you thought September was going to be a dull week. Not this week, buddy.
All right, guys. Well, thanks again for everyone that tuned in. We will next week be previewing week one of the first game of the season will start next week, as Lou just said. We'll go and recap week one of college football. We'll go through the games that happened this week. And anything else that pops up between now and then, we'll go back over the pay-per-view to see what happened in the WWE pay-per-view. Yes, the U.S. Open is going on in New York, actually, the big tennis tournament. Going on in New York. I was in Queens. I've been there. I've been in that borough before. But yes, guys, we want to thank our two sponsors, thank all the networks that are here. We appreciate everybody's support. We'll be back next week. Until then, I want to thank the men and women of our armed services and our first responders, especially the first responders that took care of my state last week with the hurricane. Thank you so much for what they did. I will, again, guys, I'm going to go live tomorrow night with just audio here. I'll make it'll just be me flying solo, but I'll go ahead and do that. And then that way you guys can listen in and give me some insight on what I can do better leading into the JV game. And I can try to mount in the JV game. And then the next varsity game I have some kind of script, or not a script, but some guidelines that I can follow. But until then, guys, I am the sports nerd, Bradley Walker. We love all you guys. Till next Thursday, everyone be safe. Have a good one. Peace.
All right.
Don't send it.